Well, hey there. I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. Today, I want to talk a bit about this phenomenon that happens quite a lot, and it's been popping up fairly frequently for me in conversation here, online, elsewhere, in my coaching sessions, just all over. And it's common enough that I wanted to talk about it. I'm not going to edit this very much because I want to, in the spirit of what I'm talking about, leave it raw and uncut if I can. And the thing is, this preoccupation with sounding like something, sounding like something that you are not, perhaps. Changing your voice to be more whatever you think it needs to be. And all of those feelings of self-consciousness, of ultimately inadequacy in some way, just being afraid that there isn't a place for you in this voiceover world, I think that's a load of hogwash. Now, at the same time, I get it. I totally get it. It's an easy thing to pick yourself apart, especially when you aren't used to hearing your own voice. You got to plug these headphones on and have your own voice piped into your ears all the time, which is jarring for a while. It takes a long time to get over it. And especially when you start to hear it and react. Anyway, all of that can lead to this idea that maybe I need to change my voice in a certain way to be something else, because maybe that'll help me in some way. I think your voice, as it is your greatest asset, and changing it is not only a mistake, but it's going to set you back. And the reason I say that is for many reasons, but I'll talk about my own experience. For the moment that I stopped caring what other people thought about my voice, and frankly, even what I thought about my own voice, when I stopped caring about how I sounded, when I stopped fiddling with all of the different tools that I had to maybe make my voice sound deeper or sharper or more gravelly or beefy, or anything that I tried to do to change my voice to fit some mold somewhere, whether it was from a casting notice or just some idea that I had of what a voiceover artist should sound like that has a voice similar to mine. As soon as I stopped caring, I started booking more. And the reason why was because I stopped caring about how I sounded and started focusing on connecting to the words that I was saying and connecting to the person, this imaginary individual that I was telling this story to. And ultimately, that let my voice free. It allowed my voice to grow, develop, and ultimately find its way in this voiceover industry. And that's really the magic. The magic isn't in how you sound. Of course, people care somewhat how you sound, but how you sound is out of your control, so stop caring about it. Your voice is your voice, and you gotta embrace it. And the thing, you can't change how your voice sounds, but you can change how you tell a story and how you engage with it. And those are the things that ultimately will send you over the edge and help you book more, because your human spirit, the flow of ideas, your passion about a thing, no matter what the thing you're talking about is, your ability to tell that story is what's going to book you the job. Not if you have some magic voice. And there are countless anecdotes about just that, but I wanted to say it here. And so I would encourage, whenever you start to dial back and become self-conscious about how you sound, there are a lot of ways to deal with it practically. Firstly, if you're recording something and you're becoming self-conscious about how you sound, you're thinking about maybe I should go deeper here or this way. take your headphones off as you record. That way, it's just your voice in the space, and you're hearing yourself the way you hear yourself naturally. And that helps me at times take my focus away from the way that I'm sounding and onto just communicating, which I think is really helpful. So that's just a quick little hack, as you were. And you can take your headphones all the way off. You can go one ear out, one ear in to kind of split the difference if you'd like. Um, and then on top of that, if you feel yourself becoming short of breath, if you feel yourself locking up in some way, becoming tense, that's a clue for you. It's a clue to say, this isn't me. This isn't how I normally speak. Because as you talk to someone normally, if you're telling your best friend a story, you don't run out of breath very often unless you're really excited about something, maybe. But for me, usually I can get through a story and tell it pretty engagingly to someone, my family, friends, and I keep my breath underneath me and supported. And then if I find myself getting tense and locked up and it's kind of hard for me to tell the story, that's another clue to me that I'm not focusing on the words and the ideas and the story and why I need to communicate this. So in those moments, it's a clue to you not to get frustrated with yourself, but just to take a second, pause, reset, reconnect with the words and the story you're telling, picture the person you're telling the story to, and just try again. And those are two things that really, really helped me. But ultimately, I can't impress this upon folks enough that your voice is your greatest asset. And letting your voice be yours, trusting it to do its job and do it well, is going to take you farther than if you try to sound like anything else. Oh, and the last thing I'll say about this is if in a casting listing, they say they're looking for, I get this a lot, so I'll use examples that I get, like a Matthew McConaughey-esque read, or Ryan Reynolds, or John Krasinski, Idris Elba, who else do I get? Just those type of voices. Donald Glover I get on occasion, I don't know why. But don't try to do an impression of those people. Take their energy, their sort of ethos, and take that as the stepping off point rather than them as a vocal blueprint. Because ultimately it's the energy of those people and the way that they behave and speak and think and tell stories that they're looking for. And again, you can't do anything about the vocal quality. And then at the end of that, once you're comfortable with your own voice as it is, that I think is when the craft and skill and training comes in, where you work with a coach, you work with a voiceover teacher, you work with a vocal coach to help you to have control over your voice. And that's when you can start to be like, oh, this spot needs a Southwest Texas accent. And you can put that mask on yourself and still be free in your telling of the story, and your spirit still moves. But you've just got a sort of costume on instead of trying to sound like something else. But that's later if you find yourself struggling with it. Anyway, this was just on my mind. I wanted to talk about it a bit, and I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions about this, anything else voiceover related, if you've struggled with this and you want to talk about it, let me know down below. I would love to discuss the ins and outs, hear how your journey's going. And if you think that this stuff is helpful and you think other folks would as well, if you wouldn't mind clicking the buttons, it helps other folks find it. And then if you want to support me directly, you can buy me a coffee, and I appreciate it. Until the next one, be well. I'll see you there. Toodles.